Hello. Welcome to another episode on the Phantasma channel. Today I thought that I would talk to you all about one of our favorite family games that we have at home. And it is none other than Exploding Kittens. It's a fun game. The reason why we like it is because it's a relatively quick game, no more than 15 minutes a game usually, and it's kind of funny. There's some RNG involved, and it's easy. It's easy for anyone to pick up on and learn, but there is quite a bit of strategy. So yeah, I guess it says its age is 7 up, but I believe you can do possibly a little lower. Now it's 2 to 5 minutes, and it takes very little to learn. Basically, the way the game goes is everybody has a turn. The way you end your turn is by drawing from the draw pile. That's how you end your turn, unless you have a card that specifies to end your turn. So there's that. Now, this right here is the look at that. It's a pretty nicely illustrated rule book, I guess you could say, rule page or two. But yeah, this guide right here is vital, because sometimes you forget. Now, I suppose I should tell you the way the game is played. First, you remove all of the diffuses and all of the exploding kittens from the deck. Then you shuffle and deal everyone 7 cards. Now, for this video, we're just going to assume that there's 3 people at all times playing. That's what we're going to reference, 3 people. So if there's 3 people playing the game, then that means that basically everybody would get 1 diffuse, and then 2 diffuses would be put into the deck. Right. Now, I've got the exploding kitten. Right. This one right here. If you draw this, you will explode and you lose the game. You're out unless you have, that's right, the diffuse. So you use your diffuse, then you save your turn. I mean, you're safe, and then you can put this back into the deck wherever you want, on the top, on the bottom, in the middle. Now, when we get to the other cards, you'll understand why that's important and how you can use that to your advantage. Now, if there's 3 people, of course, then you would put 2 exploding kittens in the deck. So they're always there. Now, there are quite a bit of cards here. Now, this game has, I believe, 3 expansions, and we have 2 of them. We have 2 of them. We have the Streaking Kittens expansion, and the I'm not sure what the other expansion is, but yes, we have that one. So one of the cards that you can use here, I guess I'll get a little one of the cards here that I will talk to you about are basically these cats. Right, so they have like the taco cat, right? That's one. Let's see. There's the feral cat. All right. There is the catermelon. Then there is the rainbow cat. Alrighty, and then there is another one, the beard cat. Now these are the only cats as far as these types of cards go. Now, the way that these work is Now remember, in this game, you end your turn by drawing or by using a card that says "in your turn." And once your turn's over, it's the next person's turn. However, during your turn, you can play as many cards as you want. So theoretically, you could play your entire hand if you wanted to, and then draw one, and you would be left with one card. Now, we'll talk about some of the strategy later, but right now let's just finish talking about these cards. Okay, so as I said, you have the bearded cat, the catermelon, the taco cat, and you have the rainbow cat. Now these cards are pretty useless by themselves, but if you have two of the same card, right, two of the same taco cat or any one of these, like a pair, you can play those cards. And when you play them, you put them into the discard pile, and then you can choose any player. They hold their hand up, and you choose a card at random, right? So you steal a card. Now, the feral cat is basically like the wild cat. So, I guess feral is another term for wild, and it can be either one that you want. So let's say you have this one, and you have a feral. Boom, you use them together, now you can steal. Right, so that's a pretty cool little trick. Now, the good thing about those cards is you can steal someone's diffuse. Right, so let's say you draw the kitten, and you diffuse, because you have to stay alive. You can steal someone else's diffuse. You have a chance. If they have 10 cards in their hand, 1 in 10 chance you can steal. Of course, they can also steal from you. Now, the favor of this card here is one where you ask the other person, hey, I would like a favor. And what they do is they pick a card to give you. So it's like you steal a card, but they give it to you. So they're going to give you their worst card. Now, if someone is down to 2 cards, and you know that they have a diffuse or something, well then boom, you can basically steal one. This one right here, alter the future. Now this is an alter the future times 3. And what that means is you can look at the top 3 cards and you can switch them in order. You can change their order. That is actually pretty beneficial, especially if you feel that that maybe someone set up an exploding kitten or something. Right. The attack times 2. So what this does is it ends your turn, which means you do not have to draw, and the person who's after you, right, if it's going clockwise or counterclockwise, it doesn't matter. The person that's supposed to go after you, they have to take 2 turns, which means they have to draw twice. Yeah, it's a pretty good card. Now this one right here, look how funny that card looks. I am no longer structurally sound, right? His legs are where his arms should be, and arms are where his legs should be. Now this is called swap top and bottom. See how creative these cards are? They're funny and kids love them. Now they swap top and bottom. So let's say someone decided that they got an exploding kitten, and they put it on the top. You don't know, but you suspect they did. You can play this card before you draw. That way you don't get it, or vice versa. Now this card right here, basically, skip. It's not like an Uno, where when you skip, it skips the next person's turn. No, this skips your turn. When you play this card, your turn is over. Now, if someone attacks you, right, that means you have 2 turns. So you have to draw twice. Well, this basically prevents you from drawing one of those turns, right? You'd play that, but you'd still have another turn because someone attacked you. So, yeah. These are more of those. Okay. Now, this card is really, when you're tired of the shenanigans or the nonsense, when people are playing cards and they're putting stuff around and they're switching stuff in order, and you're thinking, okay, someone altered the future, or someone did this, they swapped the top and the bottom, and you're like, you know what, I don't have time for that. Bam, you play the shuffle card, and you can just shuffle that deck. You can just shuffle that thing until your fingers bleed if you want to, and say, you know what, you can have you can plot against me all you want, but now this is a very, very powerful card, especially towards the late game. Because, when you have a deck like this, the first several turns, in the beginning of the game, your chances of drawing a exploding kitten are really low. I mean, if there's 100 cards and there's 2 of them in there, then you have a 2% chance of drawing an exploding kitten. Now, let's say it's down to like this, right? Well, now you probably have a 10%, 12% chance of drawing one. So it can get that's why I always say save some of your best cards for mid to late game. Now, I've played many games where the first couple of turns someone draws exploding kitten. I mean, it can happen, but you in the long run, if you play the odds, you'll come out on top. Now, this one right here, the reverse, is actually a really good card. It's similar to the skip. It ends your turn, but it simply it goes in reverse. So now, instead of going clockwise, for example, you go counterclockwise. Same as in Uno. Now the rules is there's really not. It's not like Uno. It has its own set of rules. So keep that in mind. Let's see here. Okay, now this one is a see the future, right? Like if you're not, let's say you're playing and you're like, oh my God, they were altering and they were doing this and doing that. What's going on? You know what? Let me just play this. Maybe you have an alter the future and you're deciding, well, I don't want to do anything. Or maybe you have a swap top and bottom, right? You're like, whatever the case may be. You can see the future. Now this one is see the future times 5. Now that's pretty good. You can see quite deeply. Now, in my experience, whenever you play see the future, I find that it's also really good strategically, a good way to force other people to use their cards because you can bluff. So let's say I'm playing, it's my turn. I say, you know what, I'm going to see the future. So I look at the 5 cards and I say, I could bluff. Okie dokie. And I can do like that and then draw like that. Okay, I'm going to draw. Now what this does, even if you don't do the if you draw, most people, we're all kind of, humans are kind of greedy. So if someone gets to see something that we don't get to, we feel like, well, I want to see it too. So then they'll play their see the future or alter the future, even though you know that there's nothing there. So it can be used to in more than one way, more than just seeing. Because almost every time I play this, I draw a card. The next person's like, well, I got to see the future too. If you saw it, I got to see it. Or I've got to alter it or something, or shuffle. So you can, I find that this card really just makes other people use their cards. Okay, now this one right here, you know how you can swap the top and the bottom? Well, this is a way to end your turn right here. Whenever you think that, okay, there's something on top. I know there's something on top. All right, boom, the draw from the bottom. I don't care what you did to the top 3, top 4, top 5. You want to alter the future? Doesn't matter, because I'm not drawing from the top. I'm drawing from the bottom. Yeah, it's a really fun card too. Now this one is the card, the absolute trump card. It is a card that everybody needs, and it is probably one of the most powerful and important cards in the entire game besides the diffuse, and that is the nope. That's right. If someone plays a card and you don't like it, no matter what it is, the only thing you can just, you say, you know what, nope, you can't do that. However, you cannot nope a diffuse. No, that would be unfair. And the game, wouldn't be any fun if people could nope your diffuses. So this is the only card. Now you can nope another nope. And you can also nope a nope of a nope, which is kind of cool to think about. So yeah. Okay, yeah. All right. Now this is from one of the original ones. This is the See the Future times 3. This is from the original one. The See the Future times 5 and the Alter times 5 are from expansions. But it's the same thing as the See the Future. Now, this is a really fun card, and it can actually be used in a variety of different ways. Now, this is basically, some people would say it's kind of pointless because it doesn't do anything, but it does. Because let's say, you have a steal card, and you want to steal a card from someone. Well, this is basically a way of seeing someone's hand, but you can only see one card. It's called the mark. Look at that. The mark. It's a cat peeing on something, marking them. It's hilarious. Now, what this does is, let's say I have a hand like this, okay? This is my hand. Someone plays the mark card. They get to choose whichever one they want. They touch it. And now I have to play with it like this until either it is played or stolen. So that's kind of cool. Now, I've actually marked people's cards before, and it was a diffuse or something really powerful. And, well, it's quite interesting. It's a fun one, but it's not too powerful. Probably one of the weakest cards. Now, this is the from the original one, Alter the Future times 3. Okay. Now, this one is, I would say it could also be kind of weak. I tend that if everybody only had like 1 or 2 cards, it could be powerful. But since people tend to have hands of like 10 or more during the early to mid game, I find that this card is not very useful, but it can annoy people. It's called the Garbage Collection. Now, the way that this one works is every player, including the one who played the card, must choose 1 card to shuffle into the draw pile. So this is kind of like a shuffle, but not only do you shuffle, everyone also donates a card. This is from the second expansion. More shuffles. Now, this one is probably one of the funniest cards. And actually, at first, whenever we played this, the first game or two, we thought, well, this card is kind of pointless. If you play it in the early game, mid game, it's really kind of pointless. But on the at the end, like towards the end, when there's like 10 or fewer cards in the pile left, or whenever there's like 4 cards or 5 cards left, and your chance of drawing an exploding kitten is really high, this card will destroy people. Very powerful late game. So if you get onto this one, you hold it. It is none other than the Curse of the Cat Butt. That is correct. That is a cat's butt, and it is a curse card. Now, what this one does is you blind someone with an unwanted fur bum. Yeah. So you choose a player to be blind. They must shuffle and keep their cards face down until they draw a card. So you play that. Let's say I have this card here. Let's say I've got a bunch of, I have some shuffles, and I have a bunch of cards in here that are powerful, right? But I also have some diffuses. Well, let's say I'm like, you know what? This person has all that. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna alter the future, right? You alter the future. You find an exploding kitten. Oh, you make sure that one's second from the top, so you don't draw it. Then you play Curse of the Cat Butt on someone, right? And so now they have to shuffle their cards and play them face down. So they don't know which one's their shuffle card, or which one's their steal card, or their draw from the bottom, reverse skip, any of the cards that can save them from losing. Even their diffuse card, they don't know which one they are. So you play that, you end your turn, and now they can draw. But if they draw, they run the risk of, drawing the exploding kitten. So it's very powerful because you play blind. Now here, say you're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to play blind. I'm just going to pick a card at random. Well, here's the thing. If it is a card like one of those cats, those basic cats, when you pull the card, if you cannot play it, you automatically discard it and you lose it, right? So let's say I draw that up, but can't do that. you could go through all of your hand. You can even accidentally draw like a nope or a mark card or I mean, you could randomly pick a skip, but your hand still stays face down until you draw. That is very powerful. A lot of people don't realize that. So you're playing and playing, and yeah, you're playing all these cards and you're surviving. Maybe it goes to someone else's turn and you're able to get a few turns without drawing. But if you ever want to see your hand, you're going to have to draw. So it is, it's a very powerful late game. You can force someone to play the rest of the game blind pretty much. And if you accidentally, for example, let's say you play blind and you draw your diffuse and you try to play that, it goes in a it's out of the game actually, because you didn't diffuse anything and you can't play a diffuse card, you lose it. It's a humongous powerful late game card. Now there's a risk of, if you keep it in your hand, eventually someone could possibly steal it. But it's a risk you gotta have. You gotta take. I think there's a few more cards here. Oh yeah, this one right here, the targeted attack. Now the targeted attack means that you can attack anyone. You can even attack yourself. That's right. Sometimes I'd use that in the beginning, or maybe I see the future, and I say, wow, there's a nope, or there's two nopes right there. I can end my turn and draw one, or I could target myself, attack myself, and draw both of the nopes on top of the pile. You see, or something like that. Also in the early game, like I said, your chances of drawing are low. Sometimes it's good to draw more cards, but this is actually really good at any point in the game, not in the beginning, but at the end, especially if you know that there's an exploding kitten on top. I'm going to attack you, or you attack me, I'm going to attack you. Now the thing is about the attack. If you attack someone, and you know how I said that if someone attacks you, you have to take 2 turns. Well, this one is the super skip. So if you have 2 turns, this skips all of your turns, right? So that's a really, really good card, instead of just ending one of your turns. Very good. This is also from an expansion as well. Now this card is, now this is a way that it can really be used at any point in the game. I say that earlier the game the better, or late in the game the better. In the middle, it's kind of like, and what I mean by early, I mean within the first few turns. In the middle, it's a card that it can be good. You can use this to end your turn. You can use this to end other people's turns permanently, and it is called the Atomic Bomb. What an explosion that one is, huh? So with this one, you remove all of the exploding kittens from the deck, and you shuffle the deck, right? And then you put those exploded kittens face down on the top, and then your turn ends without drawing a card. Very powerful. The most powerful turn ending card in a game. And the reason I say that is because it guarantees whoever draws the next card is going to explode. Of course, unless they have shuffles or whatever. But this is a very, very powerful card. Now, if you play this card and you have some nopes, and someone says, well, I'm going to shuffle, you nope it. Well, I'm going to do this, you nope it. You can, I mean, it's very, very good. You just have to learn how to use it and when to use it. Now, the reason why I like to use it early in the game, it's a way for people to get rid of their diffuses early. And people typically don't have too many cards in the beginning. A very good card. Now, I believe that is it, actually. Those are all of the cards. But there is one card from the Streaking Kittens expansion pack. And that is, oh, there's 2 of them, actually. Yeah. There's you know how we have the exploding kitten? Right? Well, we also have the imploding kitten. That is right. Now the imploding is placed just like every other exploding kitten, but when you draw it, instead of losing or having to diffuse, when it's drawn face down, you put it back into the deck face up without using a diffuse. Right? Now, whenever that's, so now it's going to be, let's say, in a deck like that, right? It's going to be shuffled in like that, so you'll be able to see it. Now, whenever it's drawn face up, it explodes immediately, and this card cannot be diffused. It cannot be diffused. So if you draw this card when it's face up, you're out. And that's whenever all of those other cards are really coming together. Now I'll show you the last card that we have here. Now this card is a personal favorite of mine. It is, now let's say you have, it's a good thing I'm saving the best for last here. So let's say you have, you're drawing, let's say you have a diffuse or you don't have a diffuse. Now this card is placed into the deck after everyone shuffles, and you can draw it. Now this one, super duper powerful, and it is none other than the Streaking Kitten. That's right. Now the way the Streaking Kitten works is you draw this card. It is secret. You keep it in your hand secretly. Now, as long as it's in your hand, you may draw and secretly hold one exploding kitten without blowing up. That's correct. So if you have this in your hand and you draw an exploding kitten, you can keep it in your hand. It's basically, it kind of diffuses the kitten. So have this in your hand. You draw from the top. Oh no, I got an exploding kitten, but I got this. So what that does is you can keep it. It's really, really great. Now, what is the purpose of this? Well, for one, it basically keeps you from exploding. Another thing, if someone goes to steal from your hand and they steal this, boom, right? Now, once this leaves your hand, this leaves too. You can't keep holding on to that. It would break the game. So that's actually pretty cool. Also, if someone plays the favor card and they're like, hey, I want a favor. Okay, here. You can have an exploding kitten. Boom. Now, here's the troubling part, though. Let's say you have these cards, right? Someone steals from you randomly and they get the Streaking Kitten. Well, now this explodes. They get to keep the kitten, but it explodes. So, yeah. Basically, whenever the bomb that is connected to this, whenever it explodes, this leaves the game. But yeah, so that's a really good card. I love that card. That's a good one. Which, imagine if you had the Streaking Kitten and the Exploding Kitten, and then someone played the Curse of the Cat Butt on you. Now you have to play with your hand blind. It would be very dangerous. You could accidentally draw any one of these and you explode. Because the thing is, the rule is if you have this in your hand and this leaves your hand, for like if you have to discard it for whatever reason, it explodes. You'd have to diffuse it. So that's how it works. But yeah, anyway, thank you for coming. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. We were just, I've been wanting to have something to talk about, and I thought that this game would be fun to share. So yeah, okay, well, that's it. Thank you very much.